Sheila and the Dungeon Master 2, a short D&D story. Part 3, Dream Sex Party at Sheila's place. Hold on a second. I looked into Sheila's eyes, and the love that I felt for her, let alone the love that I felt coming from her, consumed me. Do you want me to also write part 3 from your perspective? Yes, I really would, she said. So how about I help you write it? You've always helped me write it, sweetheart. She looked a little surprised. Really? How so? Because in the same way that you can call up anything that happens in your world on your vision screen, I can call up all that happens to us when I'm on my computer. Really? How exactly are you able to do that? I don't know. It just pops into my mind somehow, and I write it. Of course, I then read what I wrote and make changes, let alone corrections, but I assure you that I'll be writing down everything we're saying now. Well, not everything, but everything that I want to write down. Oh, okay. Then how about I write this on your computer when we're back in your apartment? How about we both write it? She gave me a look. Okay, you can write it, but I'm going to sit with you and we'll effectively write it together, okay? Fair enough, she said as she kissed me some more. Once my time with Sheila came to an end in her reality, and I was about to be sent back to my reality, I made sure to bring her with me. Now, with our powers gone, I went over to my computer and started writing, but she stopped me. No, let me write that. I leaned in and kissed him some more. I knew I was turning him on, but the fact is, he was turning me on too, and I really wanted to have more sex with him. But I decided to resist that temptation for now and just focus on writing his part 3 from my perspective. I told him what I wanted to say, but he didn't think that was a good idea. I think you're confusing the issue, he said to me. Just tell everyone what happened, okay? I will. Just give me a minute. Actually, how about you go into the other room and let me write what happened, and then come back and read it and let me know what you think. At first, what she said concerned me, as I wondered what she'd write about me. But then, for whatever reason, I found myself excited to see what she'd write. So I kissed her some more and then got up and went into another room. Okay, now that he's left me alone to write about all that happened last night in my home, I'll try my best to be as clear and concise as I can. It took me a little bit of time, though, to figure out how to type these words on his computer. I was confused, though, why the letters are arranged the way they are on this thing that he calls a keyboard. But he showed me how to place my fingers, and since I'm a goddess, I'm kind of a quick learner. Okay, enough about that. Oh yes, the other thing I wanted to mention is how interesting it feels to be in his world, let alone his apartment. With all of my powers gone, I feel very vulnerable, and I'm confused why I can't cast any spells since I didn't lose any of my knowledge. But I have no power here. I'm not much different from any other girl here, other than I have way more knowledge than a typical mortal. Okay, this is going to sound very bizarre, but I assure you that nothing he said last night freaked me out in any way, especially after he explained to me why he wanted to do it. Basically, he wanted to go to Forestera above and charm some of the characters from his books, then drug them, and then teleport everyone here to my place, and then we'd have sex with them. The reason he would drug them is because it would make them horny, so that they'd all want to have sex with us too. He also wanted Ilana and the other woman, who will continue to remain nameless, to join us. Don't worry, though. Eventually, if he finishes writing his series, which he will if I have anything to say about it, you'll learn all about her then. Now, though, I explained to him that we don't mess with mortals like that, mostly for moral and ethical reasons, but also because they couldn't handle it. So now he says, "But darling, this won't mess with them at all, for after the drugs wear off, they'll fall asleep. And when that happens, I'll teleport them all to their beds. And when they wake up, it'll be the next morning, and they'll believe it was all a dream, despite how real it felt." The problem, though, would be that it was real. But he was convinced that they'd never know that. So it wouldn't matter. And while he was right, I still didn't want to do it. I mean, I understood why he wanted to. He was in love with all of the girls, especially Latia, and since I loved all of them too, he knew I wouldn't mind. But the problem was twofold. For one thing, we'd be having wild sex with mortals that we drugged and charmed, because if we didn't drug and charm them, then they'd never willingly engage in such activity. But afterwards, even if they believed it was a dream, it could still affect them. I agreed that it probably wouldn't, but I still didn't want to take the chance. The other reason, though, is that he, though more powerful than me, was still a mortal human being. So I knew this was an obsession for him. Now, if you still don't understand why this didn't bother me in any way, consider what you would do if you were in his place. Could you resist having sex with mortals? How exactly would you be able to resist that, especially since he was naturally in love with all of those girls? And by all of those girls, I mean Latia, Shinfia, Laura, Raisha, Dalma, and Trina. Now you might think I'm a slut for saying this, but I would also love to have sex with all of them, and all the guys too. The guys being Lightmane, Tenneth, Jack, Carl, Trent, and Jilgrath. Yes, I would greatly enjoy having sex with all of them, including Jilgrath, even though he's a half-orc. The reason I understand all of this, and have no problem with it, and am not a slut for saying what I just said, oh, this is turning into quite a long sentence, is that I'm a goddess. Thus, I'm an immortal being. Thus, I'm not obsessed with having sex with them, because I have all eternity to have sex with anyone I want, and because we don't view sex like you mortals do. Sex for deities, and those who are now living in the immortal realm, which I simply refer to as immortals, have no reason to become obsessed about anything. We have all eternity, so waiting, being patient, is normal. Not that we can't become obsessed with things at times. I mean, addictions can affect us sometimes, just like they can affect all of you. Playing for Astera's Fate, for example. Oh, you won't know what I'm talking about if you didn't read his second book. Well, it's a game, and we love playing it. He said it's called D&D in his reality. When he told me what D&D stood for, I really liked it. It sure was a better name than Dungeons and Dangers, which is the name that our dungeon master, Yolo, came up with, but then decided that he didn't like it. Oh, I think I'm confusing all of you some more. Sorry about that. At this point, he came over and read what I had written. Sweetheart, you're rambling. I think it would be better if you just wrote this as though it was happening now. I said to you why I wanted to do this, and you said why we shouldn't, even though you were tempted. I was not, I said, as I gave him a look. Yes, you were. I saw it in your eyes. The thought of having fun sex with all of them was getting you excited. And now everyone who reads this is thinking that I'm a sex addict and that you're just a total slut, he said, laughing. Well, I think all mortal men are sex addicts, somewhat. At least a little bit. But a mortal man with the power of a god or a dungeon master? Yeah, no wonder you wanted to do this, and I'm shocked that you didn't just do it anyway, since there was no way I could stop you. Had you not been in control of yourself now, I'm sure you would have. You mean how I wasn't in control the last time we were together? Yes? Yes. Speaking of last time, You know, you could have just taken me to that sailing vessel yesterday and had those 34 men have their way with me. That would have been fun." He looked a little surprised. At my words. "What? You'd enjoy being gang raped by 34 men?" "Yes, but only because I'm a goddess. You took our powers away, though, which is why we were terrified. But with my powers fully intact, it would be fun, as nothing they'd do to me would harm me in any way. So even though they would have been acting horribly, you could have enjoyed watching all of it, as I screamed and pretended to be at their mercy," I said, acting all dramatic now. Now if you did that with Latia or Shinfia, they would have been scarred for life, assuming they survived it. "So the next time I'm with you, you want to go on that ship?" I just looked at him seductively while smiling. "Sure." He smiled back. "You didn't mention the room that I made for our sex party." He then smiled. "I mean, for our dream sex party." He created a huge room above the main level of my home. It was filled with king beds with stairs going up to it. I think he was going to add a lot more to create an appropriate atmosphere. But now I was thinking about those words that he just said. Dream sex party at my place. Maybe next time you're back here, I'll be willing to try it. As soon as I said that, though, I started regretting it as I saw his expression. I wouldn't count on it if I were you, though. But maybe we could try it with one of them. I looked at him as a hopeful look was now on his face. Yes, with Latia. "And if it works and doesn't affect her negatively in any way," he said, continuing to sound hopeful, "then maybe we can try it again with more people. But I don't need to try it, since I'm immortal, and thus it's just a matter of time before they all die and come down here and are immortal too. Once that happens, they will all gladly partake in the drugs and sex, I assure you." "Yeah, see, I can't think like you do about this, since I'm mortal." "Yes, I know. But once you die, then you'll be immortal too, just like them, and this will no longer be an issue for you." He looked a little concerned now. "Assuming I come here, that is." "Of course you're coming here, sweetheart. We're soulmates. So once you die, you'll come here, and then we'll be together forever, and sex will just be one of many fun things that we'll do together. Now why don't you show me those things that you wanted to show me?" "So you're finished? You want to end it like this?" Maybe. How do you think we should end this part?" "How about we get naked and go in my bedroom and have wild, crazy sex for 4 hours? How does that sound?" I started laughing. We're mortal now. Neither of us could last 2 hours, let alone 4. "Oh, I think I could do it." "At the age of 62, I bet you won't be able to last 1 hour." So we went into his bedroom and started having sex. Maybe 15 minutes later, I was starting to get tired, but he was exhausted. "Man, I need to work out more," he said, as he was still trying to catch his breath. "Told ya. How about you show me what you wanted to show me now?" "I'm too exhausted. Let's go take a cold shower. It'll wake us both up. Then I'll show you some things. I have some games that I think you'll really like, and there's some music that I want to share with you. Well, there's a lot of music that I want to share with you, but like you said, we have all eternity." He then got close to me and looked into my eyes. "It really doesn't bother you that I'm lusting for Latia and the other girls too, right?" I rolled on top of him and kissed him, and then just looked at him. "Does it bother you that I'm looking forward to having sex with Lightmane and all those other men?" He thought about that. "No, it doesn't. Why doesn't that bother me? I should be intimidated by that, let alone jealous or concerned." because you know that I'm deeply in love with you in a way that I've never felt for any other man, and also because you're a dungeon master. If you were just a normal mortal man, I doubt you could handle it at all. But once you're immortal like me, your obsession with wanting to have sex with all of them will go away. What? It will go away? Hold on a sec. Will my obsession with wanting to have sex with you also go away? Ah, I see why you're still confused about this. You will always desire to have sex with me and others too, but you'll no longer be obsessed about it, because in eternity, time won't matter, and thus you'll never feel like you can't wait to do something. Would you like to hear what a typical day for us will be like once you're born into eternity? Now I had his full attention. Okay, so I think we'll probably have sex maybe 3 times a day. Maybe less some days, but maybe more on others. I could see that I had piqued his curiosity now. In the morning, we'll just have normal sex, since men almost always wake up horny. He smiled. Then we'll bathe and maybe have a light breakfast. Then we'll probably do some strenuous exercises for a while, followed by some practicing of our skills like archery or spellcasting or whatever. Then, at some point during the day, we can act out a role-play scenario, which will sometimes include other people, but it doesn't always have to be sex-related. Then we'll cook dinner together with friends or just the 2 of us. Then our evening will involve whatever we feel like doing that evening. Maybe we'll play some Forest or as Fate with Yolo and the others, or we'll go for a walk in my forest, or go visit other immortals and hang out with them. Then at night, you'll make love to me until we fall asleep in each other's arms, assuming we're alone for the night. So sex around 3 times a day, sometimes just the 2 of us and sometimes with others, and all kinds of fun activities throughout each day. How does that all sound, sweetheart? When he didn't respond, I looked over at him. He was sound asleep. I just smiled and then started gently kissing him all over his body, and then I cuddled up next to him. I guess you can read the rest of this tomorrow and show me those games and stuff too, I said, as I kissed him again and slowly fell asleep in his arms, smiling.